Hello everybody, here's another video from Angie's Inspirations. So today I'm going to do a book review for you of the book The Mistress by Danielle Steel. Okay, so this book, it was very different from what I'm used to reading, but it was really good. It was an inspirational book, and it was inspirational because it tells the story of a woman who overcame insurmountable odds and survived and lived to tell her story. And it's just amazing. So the book maybe the title gives it away. This woman, Natasha, she is the mistress of a very rich, very powerful man within European society. Now, Natasha, she comes from nothing, and she remembers that, and she's very grateful for what Vladimir Stanislas gives her in return for her being his mistress and being available to him whenever he needs her. And he, he's a very arrogant human being, and he's very condescending, and he doesn't let Natasha forget that he saved her. The ironic part of all of this, like the power trip that he's on, is that Vladimir Stanislas also comes from nothing. He grew up poor on the streets of Moscow, and his mother died when he was 14 of tuberculosis. His sister died at 7. There was no money to treat them for their illness, and so their situation became grim, and they passed away. And so after his mother died, Vladimir was left on his own to navigate the streets of Russia. Vladimir rose above the ashes, so to speak. He became a very important player in the mineral and oil export fields in Russia, and he made a lot of money. Like in the beginning of the book, it states that he's worth somewhere around, his net worth is somewhere around $40-50 billion, and that's a lot of money, and that money goes to his head, and he has this idea that he is this almighty and powerful human being who can treat other people like crap. Now, in this book, it is acceptable in the society that this book portrays for men like Vladimir Sinistros to take a mistress and provide for them. And once they take you as their mistress, they basically own you. So, Vladimir would have provided Natasha's clothes, provided her with a small bank account for her services. He would have paid her bills, but in return, she had to be there whenever he needed her for whatever purpose he needed her for. Anything from hosting a party to traveling abroad with him, showing up at fanciful parties on his arm, to impress people within his high society. Roles, and he would have been very, very, very frightening if Natasha refused to do any of this. So she did all of this and more, and gave herself over to him, mind, body, and soul. And so for 8 years, they were lovers. They were, for 8 years, she was his property, and she did what he said. Natasha also came from nothing, and she's much younger than Vladimir. And when the book opens, Vladimir is 49 and Natasha's 26. So there's quite an age difference there. And he doesn't let her forget that. He doesn't allow her much freedom. Doesn't allow her a lot of anything except for what he provides or what he would consider okay. And it's a very dismal existence for Natasha. So Vladimir, there's a bit of a story about how Vladimir and Natasha meet, and it goes like this. So Vladimir is on one of his business trips to Russia, and he sees this 19-year-old girl in the street in the middle of the winter, freezing. She's freezing. She's really cold, and she doesn't have appropriate clothes on either for the weather. And he offers her a ride, and she turns him down. And he just wants her. And Vladimir Sinistros, he gets whatever he wants. And so he goes after her, and he pursues her relentlessly until he succeeds. It takes him a year, but eventually he gets her into his bed, and once she's been in his bed, then he considers her his. And she was very, very ill, and this is how she agreed to go with him. After that initial meeting where he met her in the street, and she turned him down, since she didn't want to ride, he pursued her relentlessly with gifts of food, warm clothes, anything that he could think of that she may need and to survive. And when she got sick, she decided that he was her only hope of survival. So he took her back to his boat, the marina, which is a 500-foot yacht that he named after his mother. And there on the marina, he nursed her back to health. And so Natasha was very grateful to him for this. And that's why she let things progress and go on so long. He was very generous with her. He dressed her in the latest haute couture clothes. She had Birkin handbags. She had everything she could ever even imagine or want. But all of this had a reason and a price. Vladimir Stanislas was using Natasha as a showpiece, and she had to do what he said, otherwise pay a very high price for her disobedience. So, the book also talks about another family. The book, I should say, is set in Europe. And Vladimir and Natasha, they sail around the world. Well, not sail, because the boat is not, it's a yacht. So they don't sail. They travel on this yacht. The Princess Marina, around the world. And they rarely come off the boat. And when they do, Natasha gets to go shopping and have all this money spent on her, and she gets to go to these haute couture fashion shows where the clothes that Vladimir orders for her are made to fit. These are handmade clothes, and they're worth a lot of money, and they're literally made to fit the person. And often they are the only piece of clothing like it in the world, other than what the model is wearing on the runway to showcase the piece. Each piece is unique because it's made to fit a specific person, and it's made to order. Bless me. So Natasha is very grateful for all of this, and she honestly believes that Vladimir, he loves her, and he wants what's best for her. But Vladimir has a hidden agenda. And it comes out later in the book. And Natasha's actually very, very brave about the whole situation. So the book also deals with another family that's tied to Vladimir. And the other family that the book deals with is the Luca family. Lorenzo and Melis and their son, Theo. So Lorenzo and Melis, they live in France, and Lorenzo is a very talented, very famous artist. And he has 7 children by other women besides Melis. And Melis is 40 years younger than him. And they are together for about a period of 30 years before Lorenzo dies at the age of 91. But he leaves Melis all of his artwork. And he's a very eccentric person. And so he decides that in his will, he doesn't name any of his children except for Theo, which is his only legitimate child. And so, according to French law, the child would get 2/3 of the estate. And then the wife, which by the time Lorenzo dies, Melis is his wife 8 years before his death. Lorenzo's first wife passed away, and he always told Melis, I don't want to get a divorce because it's a cost that is unnecessary. Lorenzo didn't have as much money as other artists. He lived kind of modestly. He did have money, but he was frugal with his money. He never acknowledged his children, except for Theo. I shouldn't say he never acknowledged them. He just never acknowledged them in public. Partly because he never really had the money to pay child support for them. And their mothers knew that. So they never put any pressure on Lorenzo for that. But he did acknowledge them privately. Now, that is very wrong, and I completely understand someone thinking that is very, very wrong. And I agree that it's very, very, very wrong. But it's a book. So, Lorenzo gave away a lot of his paintings and wouldn't sell a lot of them. And so Melis worked as a waitress and to make ends meet, and Lorenzo sold the occasional painting. To provide for them. And when he sold them at a good price. So he got a fair bit of money for the paintings that he did sell. And that's how they were able to survive. So after Lorenzo's death, Gabriel, Lorenzo's art dealer, admitted that he had feelings for Melis and Theo, who was like 19 or 20 by the time that Gabriel finally admitted that he had these feelings for her, encouraged his mother to pursue a relationship with Gabriel. Gabriel was a much more gentler man than Lorenzo, and he wasn't as hard on Melis as Lorenzo was, and feel like that about him. So one of the things, okay, so she did pursue a relationship with Gabriel, and they became an item, and things were happy with them for a long time, and things were good. But Gabriel always played sort of second fiddle to Lorenzo, because Melis always sung Lorenzo's praises, because she kind of felt like she was betraying Lorenzo by allowing herself to see Gabriel. Now, Lorenzo always painted portraits of Melis, and when Theo was growing up, he would paint portraits of Melis and Theo together, and they were some of his best works. So his true feelings for Melis and Theo came out in those paintings, and they were beautiful. And upon his death, of course, they were all left to Melis, and she treasured them because they were the reminders of her husband and the men that she loved very, very much. They were reminders of his love for her. And I think that part of the reason why Lorenzo was so hard on Maylise is because he was somewhat old. He was 40 years older than her, and he was just kind of set in his ways, and he just wanted things a certain way. But he did really love her, and his feelings for Maylise came out in the paintings that he did of her and Theo. And so when Theo was born, Lorenzo purchased a house for them. It was a 6-bedroom house. It was a huge house for just the 3 of them. And Theo grew up there, and he learned to paint there from his father. And he was a very, very good artist. And after Lorenzo's death, Maylise decided to turn the house into a restaurant and display his paintings in the restaurant. Now, one night, Vladimir Stanislas goes there to Don Lorenzo, which is the name of the restaurant. He goes to Don Lorenzo with Natasha, and he decides that he wants this painting of Maylise, and it's one of the first paintings that Lorenzo ever did of Maylise. And all of the paintings have not for sale signs on them. And so Lorenzo is determined to get this Vladimir is determined to get this painting. And he really, really wants it. So he orchestrates an insane proposition by using an attorney in London, and he pays a lot of money for this painting. So after much hesitation, Maylise agrees to sell it to him. Now, later in the book, so Theo, he becomes obsessed with Natasha's beauty, and he decides to paint Natasha, and he does his portrait, and he does a beautiful job, and he's working on it for months in his studio. And then after Vladimir and Natasha purchase an apartment in Paris, Natasha goes to an art show in Paris, and it's actually Theo's art show, and at this point, she doesn't know that it's Theo's art show. She doesn't know that Theo is an artist until somewhat later in the book, and after she bumps into him a few more times. So, but each time that they cross paths, Theo is enamored with her beauty, and he's madly in love with her. So he does this beautiful painting of her, and he actually gives this painting to her. And he drops it off at her apartment in Paris. Well, Vladimir is gone on a business trip, and he hangs the painting in her bedroom for her because that's where she wants it hung. Wants it hung in their bedroom. Well, Vladimir, when he sees this painting, I think he becomes very jealous, and he decides that he wants revenge. I'm sort of fast forwarding in the book here a little bit, but Vladimir decides that he wants revenge. So he decides that he's going to go to Don Lorenzo and steal art from Don Lorenzo. And at the time when he does, he knows that Melis and Gabriel are out of town, and he somehow remotely disconnects their system at Don Lorenzo and gets his security detail goons to take 12 paintings off the walls, and it takes them a period of 2 hours to do this, and the police get involved the next day, and there's a big police investigation, and the whole thing just comes to kind of a head when Natasha, she tells one of the police officers that are investigating the case that she saw paintings in the gun room aboard their boat when the security detail, they were getting the guns because they were about to be taken hostage by pirates in Peru. And so she happened to see these guns, see these paintings in the gun room. And she tells the police officer. And that is ultimately the undoing of hers and Vladimir's relationship. He takes her ashore one night under the ruse of planning to take her to dinner, tells her that it's over, tells her that he wants nothing else to do with her. He says she can have the clothes that he purchased for her, and her jewelry, and her handbags, and everything else. He's selling the apartment in Paris, which he allowed her to decorate for them, and he wants her out in a month. So Natasha's kind of sort of stuck. She doesn't really know how to deal with this. She's like, oh my goodness, how do I deal with this? And she's she's very concerned and she's very upset. I mean, he takes her to shore under, like I said, under the rules of going to dinner, and he he tells her it's over, and so she has to find her independence, and so she finds an apartment in Paris, and she takes some art classes like she originally wanted to do for a very long time, and eventually, okay, so I should back up a little bit. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, part of the reason why, Vladimir does this is because, well, he figures out that she's betrayed him and told the police about the art theft. That he was the one who committed the art theft. And he ultimately, as a result of that, ends up having to return all of these 12 paintings because he doesn't want to go to jail, and he's not wanting to go to jail over a woman who is a possession to him. And so, long story short, and I'm gonna make it very short right now because I don't want to ruin some of it. Natasha finds her independence, finds her way to feel, who loves her very, very, very much, and they end up happily ever after. At the end of the book. And I hope you enjoyed the book as much as I did. Please read it. It's a worthwhile read. And, yeah, it was a really, really, really good book. And I loved it. And, yeah, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with another video from Angie's Inspirations. Bye for now.